Hello everybody, Kyung here, and we're going to do some mixed media. So we're also going to do the next, I think outside the box challenge. I'm just going to combine the two. I picked toilet paper, so that's what we're going to use. We're going to use toilet paper, and but the first thing, we're going to do some dry brushing when all's said and done. So I'm going to make a dry brush thing to wipe the paint. Now, normally I use like a paper towel, but my husband, who has been painting models recently and does a lot of dry brushing, learned of a new technique that's better. The problem with using a paper towel is that it leaches all the water and pigment out of your paint, right? So he said the best thing to do is to make like a texture plate, and then you can use that to get like the excess paint off your brush. So I have some texture modeling paste here, and I'm just gonna like dot it on this plate like this. I'm gonna make texture, right? So see how it's got this like texture on it? I'm gonna do it over the entire thing. Just a little bit. Maybe rub some on there like that, and then go up and down probably is easier. Right, because the idea is you want texture that will basically pick up the paint off your brush as you run it over it. So because you only want a little tiny bit of paint on your brush when you dry brush. And I'm doing this now so that way it can dry while we work on the rest of the piece. Right, so there we go. We've got this textured plate now. It's got all this. It looks like the moon or something. I don't know, maybe concrete, like a wall, like a textured wall. That's what it looks like, a textured wall. So yeah, I'm going to leave that aside and I'm going to let it dry, right? So we're just going to let that air dry real nice. And we're done with the texture paste for now. All right, so here is my art journal, right? I've taken it out. This was the page we did last time. And then here are some of my other pages, just really quick, right? So I've prepared this page. All I did was I just put a layer of gesso over it, right? Just to prime it. So yeah, now we're good to go. So we're going to use toilet paper, and I will show you what we're going to do. All right, so while that's drying, I have brought down this is just a little measuring cup. It's like a half cup measuring cup. And I'm going to use really cheap PVA glue. This was bought at the dollar store. And I find that cheap, like Elmer's glue or PVA glue, works the best for this method. Just cheap, really cheap glue. So I'm going to put some here in this measuring cup like that, and then I'm going to put some water in. We're going to water it down even. So what we want, let me grab a brush. All right, so what we want is a very wet glue, right? Because we don't want it to move the toilet paper too much. I think that's almost good. I think that's good, actually. I think that's fine. Let's play with that. So I have toilet paper here. I'm going to rip them up into pieces. And I'm going to start up here. We're going to make rock. We're going to make like a rock wall, like a cliff is the idea. So I'm going to lay the toilet paper on it like that, right? And then we're going to go over it. I'm going to wet it and just kind of gently press it right onto our paper. It looks like I have some paint or something on my paintbrush. That's okay. Okay, so this is still a little too thick for me. See how it's not soaking in? So we're going to add a little bit more water. Right, and I'm going to press it down. And what happens is you get all these little texture bumps, right, from the toilet paper. Awesome. We have another piece here. I'm just going to keep going, right? I'm going to do the whole page. I like to kind of put a layer on underneath first. And it's best if you kind of like, you know, scrunch it up a little bit as you place it down, because the more scrunchy uppies you have, the more little creases you get. Actually, I think I might have a better brush for this. I have this, look at this, this brush is cool. It's a Zen garden brush, but I thought it would work great for like, I thought it would work great for art and stuff, so I brought it down. We'll see. It might be too, the bristles might be too, they might be too sharp. It looks like it's like ripping our toilet paper a little bit. Yeah, look, it's ripping our toilet paper. Well, that's not going to work. Back to the other brush. Just kind of go over it so we don't have any pieces sticking up too far. I don't want any like points, you know, I want it to lay flat, but I want little folds and creases in my paper. And then the idea is once it dries, right, and then we paint it and everything, it will look like it'll look like a cliff, like a rock cliff. Just kind of let the toilet paper soak up the glue and press it down. It's rainy here. It's been so rainy. We had a tornado warning yesterday. It got really, really close again. I really don't like that. So, and then our window wells started leaking. So that's not good. I had to run out with some plastic and cover them all up. All right, so there we go. So I'm going to cover the whole page and then I'll be back. All right, so here is the texture. Here's what it looks like. All done and everything, right? Toilet paper with like a watered down PVA glue, just covered the whole thing. And I'm gonna let it dry, air dry, because I'm not gonna take the heat gun to it, because these pages in this like golf book, I don't know, they seem to not like heat. They seem to warp when I heat them. So I'm just gonna let this air dry. It's gonna take quite a while. So I'll be right back. All right, so our page is dry, right? It's all dry really good. And now I'm going to use some regular black, cheap black acrylic paint. That's what this is. And I'm going to cover the whole thing. I'm going to paint the whole thing black. Just get all the little pieces and everything. Sometimes it helps to like water down your paint just a tad, but not too much, because you don't want to re-wet it should be pretty good because we use glue, but the more you re-wet your toilet paper, right, the more it will become, but it's doing pretty good because of the glue we used, right? All right, just gonna cover this whole thing in black. So, I hope everyone's doing good. It's been raining here all day and all night, and it's supposed to rain all night tonight too. So all the plants should be happy. The garage started flooding, so we dealt with that. Another great thing about the black paint is that, especially acrylic, is that it seals your project, right? It will seal the project even more, and then all of our texture won't ever go anywhere. It will be rock hard, just like the rock that we're making it look like. Just want to make sure I get all those little white bits. I don't want any little white bits showing, if I can help it. Would have definitely been easier if I had a bigger brush, but I keep ruining all my brushes. So that's why I buy cheap brushes, because I'm so bad with them. I've been trying to get better about cleaning my brushes, taking care of them more. Actually, to help me with that, I actually bought this really nice watercolor brush. So I've been trying to like keep care of it and everything. I feel like that will help me start some good habits in regards to brushes. Okay, we're about good. Lovely. Okay, so we're all painted black. And now we just have to wait for this one to dry. All right, so we are completely dry, and we want to be completely dry for this step. We don't want to mix any black paint into our white, right? So we have our plate, and it's completely dried. So look at all that wall texture. It looks like a wall. It really does. Okay, so I have this folk art. This is just cheap matte white paint, right? I think I got it for like $1 or something at the store. So I'm going to put a little bit of white paint on here, right? And then I have this is a blush brush. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, wow, this is an actual dry brush. Look at that. I also brought down a makeup brush, right? So these are great for dry brushing. I just get cheap blush brushes, right? Makeup brushes from the Dollar Tree, and they work excellent for dry brushing. So we don't want to wet our brush, right? We want it completely dry. We want it clean. And I'm just going to put a little tiny bit of white paint on the tip, right? Like this. And then we're going to like wipe it off on this texture, right? So we only have, look, a little bit. We only have a little bit of paint on there. You can barely see it. And now, theoretically, as we brush over our black, it should reveal our rock texture. That's the idea. Look at that. Ta-da! Rock texture. So we're just going to keep doing that. It's like a rock texture at night. It's very dark. You know, you can always change your colors, right? So if you go for like a gray instead of a black, right, you'll get lighter rock. See, and so dry brushing, basically what it does is it only puts paint on your top layers of texture. You only ever need a little tiny bit of paint, right? You don't need a ton of paint. You only need a little bit. I'm just going to put maybe a little bit more on there, like another layer, just so that we get a little bit more definition. And what's cool is you can keep the plate, right? Because the paint will dry, and as you keep using the plate and more paint dries, you get even more texture to like rub your brush off on. I used to use a paper towel, but this is a technique my husband showed me. So there we go. We have a rock wall. Ta-da! We have some wrinkles because of my pages, but that's okay. I like it. Ta-da. Awesome. Lovely. Perfect. Okay, so and then the trick is to wash your brush immediately, right? You got to wash it immediately. So what's next? What's next? Okay, so we have our background, right? We have this rock wall. I'm thinking I want to put some water trickling down the cliff, and then maybe some like bushes, like the tops of some trees. So it's like you're looking up at a cliff wall above the tree line, and you're looking at like water trickling down. That's kind of my idea. So I'm going to use this brush, which is my other dry brush, to do my trees. I'm going to do my trees down here. Okay, so I have these two colors, Bundled Sage and Rustic Wilderness. And then I'm also going to grab this color. Ta-da! It's very bright, isn't it? It's a very ugly green. It's like I hardly ever use it, but it's great for highlights, right? So I'm going to put the light on first since we're working on a black background, and I'm hoping that the distress paint, I'm not sure how transparent it is, so we're going to see. Let me shake this up. We'll just put a little tiny bit of this green on here, and I'm very interested to see. For this one, I'm going to put more paint on my brush, right? More paint than like when we did the dry brushing. And I'm just going to dot. Oh, look, it's great. It's perfect. It's lightening up our... This is distress paint, by the way. This is a Tim Holtz distress paint, Bundled Sage. Right, so we just want to lighten up this area so that our green will be seen. Perhaps some up here. Put another little layer. So my whole table is... Then I'm thinking some up here like this. One right here, like there's a tree right here. Right? Okay, there we go. We have our beginnings of our trees. I'm not even going to rinse off my brush. I'm just going to start the next color, our Rustic Wilderness distress paint, which was sent to me by Jania. Jania, for my birthday, sent me a bunch of distress paints because she's so amazingly sweet like that. Okay, now I'm going to put more green. This bundled, or what is this color? Rustic Wilderness is what it is. Rustic Wilderness. Just going to put it on this layer. Ta-da! Looks like maybe we need a little bit more over here. Okay, awesome. Now I'm going to let that dry, right? We're going to let this dry, our little bushes. Our bushes. Okay. And I'm actually, what I'm going to do to keep this from drying is I'm going to wet a little bit of a paper towel. We don't want it too wet. Wet a paper towel, and then I'm going to wrap my brush, right? We're just going to wrap it, and that will keep it from drying on us while we wait for this to dry so that we can put on our next layer. And the next thing I want to do is, let's see, I'll grab this little cheap brush, and I want to do our water, right? I'm going to do some water. I'm thinking I'm going to do it in white first so that we can put I'm going to wet my brush this time so that we can put blue over top of it and it will be seen better. So let's see. Where do we want this water to trickle down? Perhaps like that. Right, and we're just creating a the background for the water, right, so that the blue will show through. Again, because we're working on a black background. All right, I'm thinking this can come, let's get this a little more wet. Thinking that can connect like that. We can have another one, perhaps coming in like this. It can connect also to this one. And perhaps run down this way. Right. I'm not sure how great that looks, actually. We can always cover it. Because water doesn't really run sideways, but I think it's okay. I think it's fine. Right. From up here. So I'm thinking, so it starts like thicker, right? And then as it comes down, it gets thinner and thinner. This brush is not the best. Like this, right? It runs down, down, down. Ta-da, there we go. I think that's good. I think that's fine. I think I will cover this part because I don't like it. So we'll just get a little bit of black. Right, and we're going to cover it like this. And then when it dries, I'll dry brush over it with like a littler brush, and that'll be fine. You won't even be able to tell. Okay, let that dry. So for blues, I have this one. It's Salty Ocean. And I'm going to mix it with a little bit of white because I don't want that much blue. I think that's a lot, like very pigmented, you know. And water is only, you know, just barely blue, really. Right? It's barely blue. Maybe a little more blue than that, though. Right? And I'm just going to come in over the white. Oh, and I might emboss it too, because it will give us that clear look, and I think that might really help with the water. So I'm going to put blue over this white, right? We're going to make some blue, and then I'll emboss over that. Oh no, I messed that up. There. Okay, good deal. So let's do the tops of our bushes. I'm gonna grab some of this really ugly light green acrylic paint. I think this was bought at the Dollar Tree even. It's very bright. So, but we're gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna put some touches. Ooh, you know what? That's not even as bright as I thought. Look at that. I might add a little bit of yellow. Let's add a little bit of yellow. What do we got here? We got mustard seed. Let's add a little bit of mustard seed. That might brighten this up. I want like a really bright green. Oh yes, that's much better. I'm just going to dot on top like this. I twist my brush as I go because otherwise you get the same dots, right? And it looks like a pattern, which I don't want. I want it to look random. Maybe a little bit more. This yellow. Lovely, lovely. I'm going to take a lot of this yellow and I'm going to go over just a touch here and there. There. Now we have trees. We have trees down here. And we can wash our brush. And now I'm going to let the whole thing dry. All right, so this is what I'm going to do about the embossing. I don't want to shake it all over the entire thing because I don't think I'll be able to get all little embossing around. Well, you know what? I've got the thick ones, right? I think that this will work. The ultra thick embossing powder. I think this is Ranger. Yeah, it's a Ranger. So I think that it'll work. I think it'll work. Let me grab our file folder that I use to pick up excess embossing stuff so we don't make too much of a mess, maybe. We're going to try not to make a big mess. So I have this one, right? But it's gray. I can't believe it. I ordered some embossing pens and they came in gray instead of clear, which does not help me because if I color it in gray and then I put the clear embossing powder on, right, it'll make it gray. Like it'll look gray. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of this Jot glue. I'm just going to, just to stick our embossing powder on. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on this brush. And this is a cheap glue, right? This is that cheap dollar store PVA. I'm going to paint our water in with the glue. This is going to be just to keep our embossing powder held in place before we melt it. Right, so there's that one. And it works pretty good because it's not an instant dry, right? The Elmer's glue or cheap PVA glue takes forever to dry. So it's just really hard to tell if I'm actually getting any on there. I think I am. Right, and this gives that really cool water look, I'm hoping. Okay, so embossing powder, please work. Just take some and I'm just going to shake it on there. Just going to put a ton of it on there. Okay. Oh, it kind of worked. This one dried, it looked like. Let's re-put some on this one. Yeah, Okay, I'm not going to stick that back in my glue because it's got crystals on. I'm going to use my fingers. I'm just going to use my fingers to get the, because I don't have time, right? We got to be quick. Dried faster than I thought. Okay. Good. Good. I think it's good. We have embossing granules on our water. All right. Let's try to get this back in here without making a complete mess. Okay. We're done with that. We can close this up. All right, now for the magic, right? Let's heat emboss. All right, so our papers have our paper bubbled up a little bit. That's okay. But look, it looks like water now. I don't know if you can tell through the camera, but it does. It looks like water. I'm very happy with it. Okay, so what are we going to do next? I'm thinking I'd like to put like some flowers or something down here. I think I might add some more detail into our this really bright green. It's a neon. Oh, geez. Let's play with it. Maybe it will be horrible. I only want a little bit. I'm going to take the makeup brush we used earlier. It's a little damp, and that's perfectly fine with what we're doing. All right, I'm just going to add a little tiny bit. I want to add some neon yellow. Just kind of dry brush the neon yellow over our all right, we've got a little bit more definition, not much. Is this dry? Yes, okay, our embossing is dry. I wish you could see it. You can a little bit, maybe. It's a shiny, like water. All right, I'm thinking I'm going to put maybe some over here in the, what is this, the foreground? What would this be? Like right in front, right? Some maybe like pink and purple trees. I think that that's what I'm going to do. Let's see. I've got this one for sure. We're going to do picked raspberry for sure. And do I have a, I do. We have a seedless preserves. And bring our plate back over here. Let's do the darker color first. All right, and I'm just going to put them down here. Right, I want one here, maybe one right here, right here. Awesome. Yes. All right, and then I've got picked raspberry. Put some picked raspberry on here. Oh, I'm going to let this dry. All right, so let's do our pink now. This brush is a little too big for what I'm wanting, so I'm going to hold the bristles together down here like this. Keep it from spreading too much. And again, this is just that cheap Dollar Tree makeup brush. There we go. Yay. Okay. Ta-da. Our cool mixed media art. I think I'm done with it. I don't think I'm going to do anything else to it. I think I like it. It's cool. Mostly I wanted to show the texture of how to make the rock using toilet paper. And I really love the way the embossing came out on the water. I think that's really cool. Anyway, that's it. That's my contribution. Sign it over here. I don't know why all the way over here, but there it is. My signature. Kind of hidden in the bushes, right? Ta-da! Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Bye!